morning. Thank you for tuning in to Tuesday's edition of Quick Morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. In this edition, we'll get you a roundup of all that's making news back home and across the globe, starting first up with the top stories that we are tracking. Terrorists opened fire at an army convoy on Monday that targeted an army ambulance in the Akhand sector of Jammu. Both its occupants, including the driver, were unharmed. Following this, Special Forces and NSG commandos launched an operation, killing one of the attackers. In a first, the army also pressed its 4 infantry combat vehicles for surveillance and strengthening the cordon around the attack site. Helicopters were also pressed into action to locate the hiding terrorists in the jungles of the area. In fact, according to reports, there were 3 terrorists who infiltrated into India from across the border. As the troops retaliated, the attackers fled towards the nearby forest area and were later located inside a basement. An army dog named Phantom laid down his life after being hit by a bullet from terrorists during an encounter in Akhand sector of Jammu. The army's Jammu-based White Knight Corps in a post on X saluted the supreme sacrifice of its 2 heroes. Phantom was an assault dog and part of K9 unit of trained canines that participate in anti-terror and counter-insurgency operations. As the troops were closing in on the trapped terrorists, Phantom drew enemy fire, sustaining fatal injuries. In fact, in the ongoing operation, 1 terrorist has been neutralized and warlike stores have been restored. Farmers in Vijayapura have announced that they will not celebrate Diwali this year in protest over the notices that have been issued from the Waqf Board. In fact, this decision that was driven by discontent with what they perceive as Karnataka government's appeasement politics has sparked significant unrest in the district. The Akhand Karnataka Farmers Association and the State Farmers Association are leading the charge, organizing a large-scale protest against the government's actions. Leaders from these associations have condemned the government's maneuvers, alleging that they compromise the livelihoods of the farmers for political gains. The farmers believe that these actions have forced many families into uncertainty and despair, betraying their contributions to the agricultural sector. They emphasize that their struggle is non-partisan and seeks to unite various sections of society in support of farmers' rights. The organizers are calling on all affected farmers and agricultural organizations to join this movement. Himanta Biswa Sarma expressed concerns about infiltrations recently disrupting Jharkhand's culture and Adivasi Asmita. He warned that if this trend continues, Jharkhand could undergo a demographic shift, potentially becoming a mini Bangladesh, with Santhal Pargana at risk of following suit. He outlined 3 key announcements when the party forms a government in Jharkhand. That would be NRC implementation to expel infiltrators. He also stated that if an immigrant marries a tribal girl, their children will not qualify for ST benefits. Furthermore, he emphasized that if an immigrant marries a tribal girl, measures will be put in place to prevent her from running for the position of tribal head, as this would provide the immigrant with an unfair advantage in governance. Himanta Biswa Sarma also pointed out that individuals like Irfan Ansari and Alamgir Alam have significant influence in the Santhal Pargana region, noting that their wealth and alleging that the government is protecting people like Ansari.
हम एनआरसी लाऊंगा, कानून का रास्ता से हम लोग घुसपैठियों को धक्का मार के झारखंड से निकालूंगा। दूसरा, झारखंड का जो भी बेटी को घुसपैठियों ने अपना जाल में फंसा के शादी किया है, उनका बेटा बेटियों को आदिवासी का मर्यादा नहीं मिलेगा।
Meanwhile, Karnataka cabinet has approved the implementation of sub-reservation within the scheduled caste category. During the cabinet meet on Monday, Karnataka Law Minister H.K. Patil clarified that a commission led by retired High Court judge would be formed and the next decision will be taken after receiving the data. The commission has been given a 3-month deadline to submit its report, following which the state will proceed with The decision aligns with a previous SC directive supporting sub-reservation, which marks a major step towards addressing internal disparities within the SC community. In fact, the court has even given the power to the states to decide which castes and tribes should be given internal reservations in government jobs. All ongoing recruitment processes have been paused until the Commission's report is submitted. The Delhi High Court is set to hear multiple petitions regarding the Delhi Waqf Board control of over 123 properties in the national capital. Petitioners have sought the implementation of a 1984 High Court order which mandated that these properties should be taken under government possession. In fact, these petitioners allege that Manmohan Singh-led UPA government in 2014 defied this directive by transferring the properties to the Waqf Board. The current Modi government has moved to reverse this decision, initiating steps to bring these properties back under government control. In a letter that's been sent to the Delhi Waqf Board chairman Amantullah Khan in February last year, the Land and Development Office of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development informed the board of its intent to reclaim the properties. In response, the Delhi Waqf Board has approached the High Court challenging the action. The high-stakes legal dispute could have significant implications for the administration of Waqf properties in the region, with all eyes on the upcoming court proceedings. A fire broke out in a moving train near Rohtak on Monday evening. That it was ignited by an explosion of firecrackers being carried by a passenger. The fire started in one section of the train, quickly filling the area with smoke. 2 to 3 passengers sustained minor injuries as a result of the incident. The train was en route Delhi from Jind, passing through Sambla and Bahadurgarh. Preliminary report suggests that a short circuit in an electrical appliance may have resulted in firecrackers exploding. Forensic experts have even been called to investigate the scene, and further investigation is underway. In Maharashtra, the nomination process for the upcoming single-phase assembly election is in full swing, with today marking the final day for filing nomination. Candidates from various parties submitted their nomination papers on Monday as the state prepares for elections to its 288-member assembly scheduled for 20th of November. Among the notable candidates are Deputy Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis officially announced his candidacy from Nagpur Southwest, accompanied by a large rally following a meeting with Union Minister Nitin Gadkari. Other prominent figures include Shiv Sena leader Uday Samant, who filed his nomination from Ratnagiri, BJP leader Ashish Shelar from Bandra West, and Legislative Assembly Speaker Rahul Narvekar from Kolaba. Now, during the Spain president's visit to India, he is rather on a 3-day visit. Several key MOUs have been signed. Let's take you through the details. India and Spain have signed several memorandums of understanding, MOUs, during the bilateral meet that was held between the two leaders in Vadodara on Monday. In fact, during the bilateral talks that were held, both leaders discussed the situation in Ukraine and West Asia. According to the Secretary of Ministry of External Affairs, India reiterated its position that it really looks for a free, open, inclusive, prosperous and peaceful Indo-Pacific region, further adding that more on the region would be covered in a joint statement that would be issued soon. India and Spain, during the bilateral talks, signed agreements on cooperation in key sectors like infrastructure, railways, as well as culture and tourism. An MOU on rail transport was also signed for cooperation in planning, design, developing, commissioning and even operation of infrastructure for long-distance passenger and freight network, as well as urban and regional railway systems, as per an official release. It has also been decided that Spain will open a consulate in Karnataka capital. The Spanish delegation to India also comprised of 2 ministers and 15 CEOs of leading companies.
Prime Minister Modi, this is also the triumph of your vision to turn India into an industrial powerhouse and a magnet for investment and business-to-business collaboration.
Now, on a day before the festival of Dhanteras, gold prices in the country have fallen by 400 rupees to 8,100 rupees per 10 grams in the national capital on Monday, influenced by weak trends in overseas markets. According to All India Sarafa Association, in precious metal with purities of 99% to 90% and 99.5% had reached its all-time highs of 81,500 and 81,100 rupees per 10 grams respectively. Meanwhile, gold of 99.5% purity dropped by 400 rupees to 80,700 rupees per 10 grams on Monday. Adani Power on Monday reported a 50% decline in its consolidated net profit to 3,297 crore rupees in September quarter compared to a year ago, mainly due to lower income as well as higher taxes. The company had posted a consolidated net profit of 6,594 crore rupees in the quarter that ended in September last year. As per the BSE filing, the company explained that there were lower one-time revenue recognition of the prior period items of 1,020 crore rupees in the first half of FY25 as compared to 90,278 crore in H1 FY24 following the resolution of all major regulatory matters and realization of outstanding dues from discoms. Apple has launched its highly anticipated Apple Intel capabilities with the release of iOS 18.1 update, now available for the latest iPhone 16 and iPhone 16 Pro models. Last year's iPhone 15 Pro and iPhone 15 Pro Max also support the full suite of features, while the standard iPhone 15 and older models will only receive basic iOS 18.1 updates, missing out on competitive artificial intelligence enhancements. To get the latest update, iPhone users can check for the latest iOS update by going to Settings, then General, and checking for a software update. The feature is available across iPhone 16 to iPhone SE 2 generation. State-owned Indian Bank on Monday reported a 36% increase in profit at 2,707 crore rupees for the second quarter ended September this year. The Chennai-based lender had earned a net profit of 1,988 crore rupees in the same quarter last year. The income has increased to 17,770 crore rupees in the quarter, up from what it was in the same period last year. Shares of Interglobe Aviation, the parent of country's largest airline operator Indigo, has fell as much as 13.42% to hit an intraday low of 3,778.50 rupees as it reported a surprise loss in the second quarter of the current financial year. The Gurugram-based airline reported in its first quarterly loss in 2 years, primarily driven by soaring fuel prices and increasing aircraft rental costs. The airline disclosed a loss of 989 crore rupees for 3 months, ending September 30, which is a stark difference when it comes to the profit of 188 crore rupees during the same period last year. During the inauguration of Tata Aircraft Complex in Vadodara, Prime Minister Modi remembered Ratan Tata, expressing that late industrialist would have been happy to witness the significant advancement in India's defence sector. Prime Minister Modi, who stated that Tata, who recently passed away, would be feeling happy about the establishment of C295 aircraft factory, which he described as a symbol of new work culture in India. Well, on to the international stories that we're tracking this morning. The North Korean forces have been sent to Ukraine as part of combat operations against Ukraine. Let's take a look at other international stories that we're tracking. Democratic vice presidential candidate Governor Tim Walz addressed a crowd in Wisconsin on Monday, just 8 days before Election Day. He spoke to voters donned in helmets and protective gear, criticizing Donald Trump's treatment of union workers. Walz even highlighted a conversation between Trump and Musk where they appeared to laugh about the prospect of striking doctors, calling it a disrespectful joke about people's livelihoods, further urging Americans to stand up to this bully and emphasize that the way to fight back is through their votes. He even told the crowd that Trump appears to care more about his billionaire friends like Elon Musk following a recent Trump rally in Madison Square Garden where Musk had spoken.
They could care less about union workers. They care about their billionaire friends like Elon Musk. Now look, there's a reason that I called the guy in a good Midwestern insult the other day. I said it because I had seen a clip, and all of you have seen it, where he and Donald Trump laughed about the idea of firing striking workers. Why negotiate with them? Just fire him. That's how he thinks about you. He thinks your jobs are a joke. That's why I called him a dipshit, and I stand by it. I stand by it.
And it was a bittersweet moment for Biden as he came to vote in the 2024 presidential election while having ended his re-election campaign in July. This decision stemmed from increasing concerns about his health and Democrats' apprehensions regarding his ability to defeat former President Donald Trump. On Monday, Biden cast an early ballot, joining a long line of voters. When asked about his chances of winning, he expressed optimism. Biden also took a jab at Trump, stating that his character is always questionable whenever he speaks, further criticizing Trump for maintaining close ties with Putin, calling it very dangerous, especially considering that Kamala's opponent is in talks with him.
Beneath any president, but that's what we're getting used to. That's why this election is so important. You know, most of the presidential scholars I've spoken to talk about the single most consequential thing about a president's character. And he puts that in question every time you open.
French President Emmanuel Macron landed in Morocco's capital on Monday for a 3-day state visit. The two countries are set to sign several agreements, including on energy, infrastructure, education, and national security matters as well. This visit is aimed at mending relations with with North African country after years of tensions. His trip comes following a late September invitation by King Mohammed VI, who had called the visit an opportunity for a renewed and ambitious vision covering several strategic sectors. In fact, this visit follows years of strained ties between Paris and Rabat following France's ambiguous stance on disputed Western Sahara and Macron's quest for an rapprochement with Algeria. An Israeli strike on the streets in central Gaza's refugee camp killed 10 people and injured 20 others, according to Palestinian health officials. The latest strike comes as Israel forces intensify their operations in northern Gaza. The dead and the injured were taken to Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital. The Israeli forces said that it will not comment without being provided with exact coordinates of the strike. The war that erupted on 7th of October in the Gaza region claimed lives of 1,200 people and left more than 20,000 people injured. Thousands of Georgians gathered outside Parliament on Monday night, demanding the annulment of the parliamentary election held over the weekend. The president condemned it as rigged with Russian assistance. The rally intensified the political crisis in South Caucasus nation, where the ruling Georgian Dream Party has increasingly adopted authoritarian measures and aligned itself with Moscow. The president condemned it as rigged with Russian assistance, further emphasizing the need to expose the full extent of what he called an unprecedented theft.
Because this is our last hope to save our democracy in this country. Our elections have been rigged, and if we don't succeed in this fight, our country will be handed over to Russia, and we're not ready to give that up.
Israeli Parliament started a debate on Monday to vote on a pair of bills that would effectively sever ties with the United Nations agency responsible for distributing aid in the Gaza region. Israel claims to strip Gaza of legal immunities and restrict its ability to support Palestinians in East Jerusalem and West Bank. If passed into law, these bills would signal a new low in relations between Israel and the agency known as UNRWA. Israel has accused the UNRWA of maintaining close ties with Hamas terror group. These changes would also be a serious blow to the agency and to Palestinians in Gaza who have rather become reliant upon it for the aid for over a year now. In other news that we are tracking, an investigation by French newspaper has found that highly confidential movements of US President Joe Biden, Jill Biden, Donald Trump, Melania Trump and Kamala Harris and others can be easily tracked online through a fitness app that their bodyguards use. But the US Secret Service told the newspaper that it does not believe the protection it provides was in any way compromised. It was also found that some US Secret Service agents use the Strava fitness app, which is a fitness tracking app primarily used by runners and cyclists to record their activities.
It is totally open source, so that's I guess one of the main concern about this investigation is that we, myself and one of my colleagues, Antoine Scherer, managed to do this within a few weeks, just looking through this data. So of course, we can only imagine that various secret services from various countries might have been doing the same for maybe years now, because this security loophole is not new at all. In the case of the US, it goes back to Barack Obama's time.
And on that note, we head into a very short break. When we come back, we'll get you all the action that we're tracking from the world of sports and entertainment.
This is Republic Cucina Studio, your one-stop destination for all the breaking news and updates. I'm Deepak Suresh Kumar. Let's get started.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's best 5G smartphone brand, brings you the latest breaking news updates from across the country, only on Republic TV, and I'm Samiksha Srivastava. This is Republic Cucina Studio, your one-stop destination for all the breaking news and updates. I'm Samiksha Srivastava, and let's get started. Welcome back. Let's now take a look at sports stories that we're tracking in Tuesday's edition of Quick This Morning. Bolstered by the return of captain Jaideep, Haryana Steelers defeated Dalbang Delhi KC 41-34 in a dominant display in the Pro Kabaddi League. The players scored 10 points while Shivam Patare chipped in with 8 points. For the Dabang Delhi KFC, Ashu Malik top scored with 13 points in the match. The AIFF has decided to write to the South Asian Football Federation regarding Nepal holding up play for more than an hour during SAFF Women's Championship semi-final against India in Kathmandu in protest against the decision of the referee. India took the lead in the 62nd minute, but chaos prevailed at the stadium. A few minutes later, Nepal scored, but the goal was denied by the referee. Mario Balotelli signed with the relegation-threatened Genoa to mark his return to Serie A after more than 4 years. The 34-year-old last played in Italy's top division with hometown club Brescia in 2019-2020. His last appearance for any Italian club was with Monza in Series B in 2020. Local favourite Hugo Humbert was made to work hard to defeat Brandon of the United States in its first match at the Paris Masters. Humbert seeded 15th at the final Masters 1000 event of the season, which needed more than 2 hours to defeat the 35th ranked Nakashima by 6-3, 4-6. Hockey India announced the restructured 18-member Indian women's hockey team to compete in the highly anticipated Women's Asian Championship Trophy. The tournament will be held from 11th till the 20th of November at the newly developed Rajgir Hockey Stadium in Bihar. First half of Olympic de Marseille saw them concede 3 goals and lose midfielder Amin Haric to a straight red card as Paris Saint-Germain recorded a resounding 3-0 win on Sunday to move 3 points clear of the top of the League One. Manchester United continue their horrible run of form in international football as they succumb to a 2-1 defeat against West Ham in their Premier League match. With a defeat against West Ham, Manchester United slipped down to 14th position in the PL standings. Goals by Nicholas Jackson and Cole Palmer earned Chelsea a crucial 2-1 home win over Newcastle United in the Premier League. And for now, let's take a look at entertainment stories that we're tracking in Tuesday's edition of Quick Morning. Jon Stewart is set to continue his weekly hosting The Daily Show on Mondays through the end of the next year, as announced by Paramount. The network's co-CEO Chris McCarthy praised Stewart's ability to deliver sharp insights during the crucial election year, particularly in the midst of President Biden's unexpected decision to step aside and endorse Vice President Kamala Harris. Stewart, who would return to the show in February, humorously remarked that while he initially preferred to host the show every Monday, he would suck it up for weekly appearances. He will also continue as an executive producer, overseeing the rotating lineup of hosts for the remaining days of the week.
It's awesome, man. Should have been done, as you can see, 5 months ago. So the Writers Guild basically asked for a fair deal. They got that fair deal, but it took way longer than it should have.
The family of late actor Matthew Perry has shared their memories of Friends star during an interview on marking a year since his passing. Perry's mother expressed her feelings of helplessness, admitting that his addiction was the one problem she couldn't conquer, while his stepfather reflected on the lessons learned from Perry's struggles, emphasizing that true recovery requires more than financial resources. They also addressed ongoing legal actions related to Perry's death, mentioning that a San Diego doctor recently pleaded guilty in connection with his fatal overdose. The family highlighted their hope that those supplying dangerous substances would be held accountable, with Keith asserting that professional credentials would not protect them from consequences. French actor currently facing, in fact, this is Gerard Depardieu, who's currently facing trial for alleged sexual assaults against 2 women on the sets of Les Volets West in 2021, will not appear in a Paris court on Monday due to health issues. The actor, who was denied any wrongdoing, is accused of using violence and coercion in the incidents during which the women reported being groped and threatened by the 75-year-old actor.
We are here because we want to support victims that had the bravery, the courage to speak and to denounce this violence, this sexual aggression that they suffer from. We are here to ask for to end impunity, because I think impunity is really something that we observed in many places.
Actor Timothy Chalamet made a surprise appearance at his own look-alike contest in Lower Manhattan on Sunday, a well-attended event that drew an order to disperse from police and at least one arrest flanked by bodyguards. Chalamet posed for photos with his lookalikes, some of whom had dressed as Willy Wonka and Paul Atreides characters that he had played in Wonka and the Dune movies.
Told by several people I look like Bob Dylan, and Timothy Chalamet is playing Bob Dylan in the upcoming movie A Complete Unknown. And you know, if Timothy Chalamet looks like Bob Dylan and I look like Bob Dylan, then by default I look like Timothy Chalamet.
Nicholas Hoult, Tony Collette and Zoe Dushik premiered Clint Eastwood Juror 2 in Los Angeles on Sunday night.
Learned so much from him. But I loved how he encouraged me to trust myself and to not overthink it, and encourage just a little bit more stillness. And he loves actors. It's just, I know that sounds, you would assume all directors do, and maybe they do, but I just felt that he really loved actors. He loves watching actors act. He's right, like where you're sitting, that's where he is when we're doing a scene. He's there with you, and it just made me feel, I felt very safe having him with me. I'd never worked with a director that is this close while you're doing a scene. It was really wonderful.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition. News breaks and top stories to continue back home from across the country and the globe.